is the place to go to source executive talent for your senior management team. Our experienced recruiters have deep sectoral knowledge and are highly networked. Log on to thepanel.com for more information. The Panel. We know the people you want.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
Yeah, Arsenal are still 3-0 up against Bate, which is 3-1 on aggregate, so they look pretty comfortable to advance to the next stage in the Europa League. Not looking so good, obviously, for Celtic. We're now joined by Johnny Giles. How are you, John?
Good, John. Yourself?
Not too bad. How has your week been since we were last talking to you?
Okay. Okay. How was it for you? Were you happy with Liverpool, were you?
I wouldn't say I was happy, John. I thought it was disappointing how little chances they created. It was one of these games that was billed. I remember thinking, we were talking about it actually in Off the Ball in before the game, and we were expecting there would be plenty of goal-mouth action and goals, because obviously Bayern's record in defensively is, I think they've conceded 3 goals in 3 games in the league this season. Yeah. Liverpool didn't have Van Dijk, and I don't think I've ever called a game more wrong. It was a game of very few chances. Very
few. Well, I don't think they were very ambitious, actually, Bayern Munich, Johnny. I thought Liverpool did their best. They had a couple. If there was any chances gone, they were Liverpool's. But, I certainly wouldn't. Well, I don't think anybody's writing them off for the return leg, because, the Bayern Munich weren't very adventurous, to say the least, the other night. So Liverpool could have nicked it, but I wouldn't write them out of it anyway.
Were you the same as me in that your expectations for the game were kind of at odds with how it actually transpired?
Yeah, it was, because I thought they'd have a go more. I thought Bayern Munich would attack more. I think they were very, very cautious in the way they played. Looked like they were playing for a no-score draw from the start. I don't think they had one chance in the match. Lewandowski was up front, didn't get a kick at the ball. He was on his own, so there was no ambition about them really, really having a go at Liverpool the other night, which I was little bit disappointed in from their point of view anyway.
Yeah, because that's a very valid point, because the 0-0 draw away from home leaves you vulnerable at home in that, obviously, and Bayern defended in massive blocks, but they really showed very little intent to actually score.
No, they didn't. I didn't think they have a go at all to score. And Liverpool, obviously, you have the home team, you'd expect them to do so. Now it depends whether Bayern have the equipment, even at home, to be able to have a go at Liverpool. You would expect a different approach from them anyway. But no, I think Liverpool are still in with a good show.
Lewandowski had 34 touches, which was the fewer of any player in the starting lineups, and he'd only had 3 in the Liverpool penalty area. Did he look like the player that we know him to be? He's had a lot of goals in Germany this season, but it's probably not the strongest league in the world.
Well, he's always been like that, Lewandowski. He doesn't come alive until he's scoring goals, Johnny. He's never been a fella that's running behind defences of that. And to be fair to him the other night, he didn't get any opportunities at all. I mean, they never got a real grip of the game to bring him into it. He's a goal scorer, but he's not a fella that's going to put his print on the game unless he's scoring goals, which is a very, very important thing. And he is a great goal scorer. But if you look the other night, he didn't have one chance that you could say, oh, he missed that chance. He didn't have any chances at all the other night.
From Liverpool's perspective, are they kind of happy enough? I mean, they almost looked as if they were half settling for 0-0 at the end.
Well, I think they'll be happy enough with it. I mean, there were big doubts about them before the match because Van Dijk wasn't playing, a couple of defenders missing, so they weren't at their strongest. So I think they would have expected to win. I think they had to go. They weren't good enough to break them down on the night. But definitely away from home, I certainly wouldn't write them off.
I was very disappointed in Mane, actually, just the chances he missed, and also he could have easily put Origi in one-on-one at the end and didn't. But you'd have to say Salah didn't do a great deal either.
No, well, none of the forwards that you would expect. Firmino didn't do much. The ones who really do the business for Liverpool up front didn't play. I mean, now, to be fair, Bayern Munich did defend quite well, and they didn't give them many up. They had 1 or 2, well, maybe 3 half chances, really difficult chances, Liverpool. But Bayern Munich did defend well. They didn't give them much.
How do you expect the second leg to go?
Yeah, I think Liverpool are in with a chance. Yeah, like Bayern Munich haven't taken advantage of the away goals, as we know. So Liverpool, if they get 1, then 2 have to beat them. So that's they're well in. They're well in with a chance.
Would it just worry you that their away record in the group stages was so bad?
Well, I think they've improved, Johnny. You know, I mean, they were giving goals away left, right and centre before Van Dijk came. They've got Alisson, the goalkeeper now. Robertson's very good. I think they're missing Gomez in the centre defence. So, I mean, they have improved the personnel in the defensive situation, and they're a lot better. And I think they haven't conceded that many goals this season.
I guess that was a very positive thing from the perspective of no Van Dijk. Yes, defensively they were really rock solid.
Yeah, they were very good, but that would go back to Bayern Munich not being very adventurous in going forward. They didn't try to put them under any pressure, really, Johnny. They had a game plan, and I think it was a no-score draw for Bayern Munich, and that's what they were content with. They didn't really have any real chances to score against Liverpool. I think that was their plan.
Yeah, Klopp was asked about this, I think, last week in terms of the priority of the Champions League versus the League. Is there any sense when you're watching them in the Champions League that it's slightly secondary to their actual main aspiration this season? No, it doesn't work that way, Johnny. You know, once you're going for it, you're going for it. I mean, they are out of two competitions. Champions League is huge. You can't, like, it's not as if you're taking it easy in what they used to the old League Cup. I don't know what it's called now. Carabao Cup.
Yeah, it's not like that. You know, I mean, this is the Champions League. I mean, if you know, the team that wins the Champions League is regarded as the best team in Europe, so they're not going to be taken out on that. But I think they're out of the FA Cup, out of the other cup as well. So don't forget, Manchester City are still in four of them. So it could be a blessing in disguise for Liverpool that they're not involved in all the competitions, Johnny.
Briefly, can they win the Champions League?
Oh yeah, I think they're good. They're capable of winning. Whether they do it or not is another thing. I think they're capable of winning the league, which is another thing. So are Manchester City. So, but I think, yeah, they're doing it if they play as well as they can. Like any team, you've got to play well to do it. But, you know, I wouldn't write them off in either of the competitions.
Second clash of a German team and an English team last night, Schalke and Manchester City. And John, where do we start here?
Yeah, it was a peculiar game, Johnny. I think Manchester, I watched it, obviously, like most people, I think, watched it last night. I thought Manchester City were going to win easily after the first 10-15 minutes. I thought they played well. They got the goal. It looked like they were going to stroll it, and then a couple of decisions went against them for the two penalties. But looking at the stats afterwards, apparently, Johnny, they only had 2 shots on goal, and there was the 2 penalties.
Extraordinary.
You know, it was amazing game. Like, I thought City in the first quarter of an hour were going to win this game 3-0. And then the 2 penalties against them, and then they did really well to come back, as we know. They were down to 10 men. Sane came on, scored an unbelievable free kick, and Sterling then to nick it at the end. So it was a topsy-turvy match from both sides' point of view.
I think it was a game, I suppose, that it makes you really appreciate Guardiola, because surely, John, a lot of teams, they're down to 10 men, 2-1 away from home against an inferior team. It's not the worst by any means. And they actually had the gung-ho to go on and win the game. Oh,
yeah, he made a couple of substitutions, Johnny, as we know. Actually, he took Aguero off. I was surprised at him doing that because he's always liable to score. But Sane came on. Who else came on? I can't remember who else came on, Johnny. But, you know, Sane himself made a difference because the free kick was sensational to make it 2-2 and to go on and nick it. So they were having. It was a peculiar game in that, you know, City, I thought, were going to win easily. Then they lost the 2 penalties, and then they're up against it. But they fought back well. Then to get a win out of it was a good performance for them.
Just the technique of Sane as well. I mean, it was almost a perfect free kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw him doing it at the Manchester City ground. I don't know, it was last year or the year before, and it was a very similar position, maybe a little bit further out, but in the same corner. So he's obviously well able to do it in training, Johnny, because it was a perfect strike at an important time last night.
Where do you see them in terms of the Champions League? I guess the main criticism of Manchester City has been just to be a bit of a flop in Europe, but they're well on the way this season anyway. Well,
you know, he's only had one season in Europe. That was last season. So, you know, they've strengthened, probably strengthened since then. I think they're capable of winning it, Johnny. I wouldn't say that we're going to win it, but they're capable of winning it, and they're as good a chance as anybody else, as Liverpool have as well. You know, Liverpool are capable of winning it. Now, it depends how they play. Like any team, you don't win it on paper. You have to go out on the pitch and do it. But they're certainly capable of doing it.
But Would you say Liverpool defensively look a team you'd rely on more than City at this stage if it got to the crunch in the Champions League?
Well, they'd be more reliable. With all the players fit, they'd be more reliable at the back. But the way Manchester City play, it's all about scoring goals, getting goals, keeping possession of the ball, which they've done. So there's a contrast between Liverpool and City. There's no doubt. But that's why when they play each other, it's fascinating matches, Johnny. Both of them have very, very strong situations where they're good at the mat. City probably have a bit more in the middle of the field with De Bruyne playing well. Again, if he starts playing, he didn't play well last night.
He's a worry, John, isn't he? Just hasn't started from this season.
No, well, he had a bad injury, Johnny, so he was out for a while, and it does take a while to get back, but you would expect him to be back by now. And he was very disappointing again last night, at a time when they really needed him. Yeah,
because my feeling was, all of these players, including Salah, who played in the World Cup, I thought De Bruyne maybe the break would actually do him good, but he's come back almost like a shadow of the player he was.
Well, I think there's a difference between having a break and having an injury. When you have an injury, you can't do the training. Lots of things goes against you. So I mean, you've got to give him a little bit of time. But I would have thought that he would be showing certainly signs of his best form by now. And the last few matches I've seen him playing, he hasn't played well at all, and he didn't play well last night.
Because when on his game, John, how good is he?
Well, I think he was the best in his position in the Premiership last season. He's playing as a midfielder. I see this season, Johnny, I think he's playing a little bit too far forward from the middle of the field. He's better coming back a bit. He does his best work from that position. And I think he's too far forward in the games. But apart from that, even getting on the ball in good positions last night, he didn't do well on it. So he's not playing anywhere near as well as he was at his best last season.
Stick around after the break, because we're going to get John's views on that big game at the weekend, Manchester United against Liverpool.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
At Energia, we're the power behind all of Ireland's streetlights. And we're also the power behind the lights closer to home. From the night light beside the baby's cot to the big light in the hall. There's now big savings to be made by switching to Energia and Ireland's cheapest dual fuel bundle. Switch today at energia.ie or call 1850 300 700. Energia, the power behind your savings. EAB €1,470 based on average annual usage. 12-month contract, discounted unit rates, standing charge, PSO levy and carbon tax, T's and C's and early termination fee apply. Valid from January 2019 and subject to change. Verification and T's and C's at energia.ie/EAB.
This February in Home Store and More. All planters and garden accessories are half price. All frying pans are half price. All rugs are half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price planters and garden accessories are gone, they're gone. And when all the half-price frying pans are gone, they're gone too. And as for all the half-price rugs, when all the half-price rugs are gone, they're definitely gone. All offers available online at homestoreandmore.ie, as well as in-store at Home Store and More. Home Store and More. Your home made more.
At Expert Electrical, discover the new you with a NEF selected appliance and get up to €150 one-for-all gift card when you make a purchase. Choose from one of the NEF Circutherm ovens, which allows you to bake and roast simultaneously with its unique hot air system. With 67 stores nationwide, there's a local expert near you. Find yours at expert.ie. T's and C's apply.
Logically, you know Cube kitchens are expertly designed and fitted. Practically, you know they've got all the clever storage ideas you could wish for. Reassuringly, you know Cube have over 50 years experience, but that's not why you want one. Cube kitchens just look so overwhelmingly, irresistibly amazing. See our full kitchen wardrobe and furniture range, including Caligaris in Dublin and Cork, or online at cubekitchens.ie, or call to arrange a free consultation. Be kitchen proud with Cube.
Hello, konnichiwa.
Corn itchy, what?
What the hell are you playing at?
I'm learning Japanese.
But you can barely speak English.
So, you won't want to come to Japan with me and Hunky Dory's Crisps in September then?
Let me check that Hunky Dory sharing pack for details. There's flights, hotel and match tickets included. Goodbye. Sayonara. It'll be sayonara if you think about going without me.
Having a flutter? Top tip, quinbet.com. Ireland's newest online sportsbook and casino. For all your horse racing, football, casino and more, QuinBet has you covered. With live in-play markets on mobile, PC and app. QuinBet.com. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Visit gambleaware.ie.
Make a dash, push on and don't delay, for Casey's Furniture Winter Sale ends this Sunday. A better time there'll never be. Shop in-store and online at caseys.ie.
The Irish Field Cheltenham Festival magazine is on sale now. Packed with expert tips and features, the 120-page annual includes an exclusive interview with Ruby Walsh. Can presenting Percy win the Gold Cup? We speak to his owner, Philip Reynolds. There's 10 great tips for beating the bookies, and we have gone through all 28 races to give you that winning edge. Get on a winner with the Irish Field Cheltenham magazine in all good newsagents now.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
And you're welcome back. We have a couple of full times from the Europa League. Arsenal were in action against Bate Borisov. They beat them 3-0 and that puts them safely through. Celtic lost 1-0 Valencia. They now go out. We're rejoined again by John Giles. And John, this obviously is a pivotal game in the title race and also maybe the top four. Manchester United against Liverpool on Sunday. How do you see it going?
Well, I think they've had a bit of bad luck, Liverpool, in catching Manchester United at this particular time. Mourinho's gone and Solskjaer has done a good job, as we know. Got a good win against Chelsea the other day. So on paper, it's probably the hardest match, or certainly one of the hardest matches they'll have this season. So again, a big test for Manchester United. They didn't do too well in the Champions League, but had a good win against Chelsea, an inconsistent Chelsea, and it's a big game for both of them. So it's Liverpool will definitely need all the best players back now in the team, but a big test for the weekend, Johnny.
I guess you would have to commend them in terms of the reaction to the first major setback from the Solskjaer era. Really was that PSG humbling, but they responded in great shape against Chelsea.
They did, yeah. Chelsea, you'd have to say Chelsea were disappointing again, Johnny. You don't know what to get from them. You know they can be very good. They haven't been very good recently. But Manchester United played very well against them, and that's all they can do. Whether Chelsea do their stuff, it's not down to Manchester United. But Manchester United well deserved to win the match. They were the better team on the night. There's no doubt about that. So, again, Liverpool now is another big test for them.
Pogba redeemed himself, if he needed to redeem himself a bit as well against Chelsea. It was a bit of a man of strength performance from him.
Who's that? Sorry,
Pogba.
Well, he was involved in the goal, as we know. It was a terrific pass for Herrera to score, and then he was up in the penalty box himself, getting a good header in. To be honest, the rest of his game, he wasn't in the game much at all. Herrera was very good. Matic was very good, but I think what's happened to him since Solskjaer there, I don't think they're actually playing him in a role in midfield that I think he's not capable of playing, Johnny, to be honest. Mourinho described him as the complete midfield player, and I'm surprised at him saying that. I don't think he was ever the complete midfield player. He's a talented guy who can be very dangerous getting into the box. So I think Solskjaer very cleverly has released him from that midfield position where he's expected to get on the ball and dictate from midfield. I don't think he's capable of doing that. But Matic and Herrera did it well the other night, which frees Pogba to get into the box and do what he's been good at in recent times, which is getting headers in and scoring goals, Johnny.
So you don't think he's actually capable of being that complete midfielder like Roy Keane to be right?
Definitely not. I never felt that he was. I don't know whether Mourinho ever really believed that that's what he was. He is a talented guy, there's no doubt about that. He can score goals, he can do certain things, but I think there's a lack of discipline about his game if you're expecting him to play in that responsible position. I don't think he's capable of doing it.
Okay, so do Liverpool maybe abandon their normal game plan, which is Liverpool, and say, right, we're going to manage Pogba here, and if so, how do they do that?
Well, I wouldn't go to manage Pogba at all on a one-to-one basis, Johnny. If Liverpool play the way they play and they dominate the game, that looks after Pogba. You know, like Pogba depends on his other players, Herrera, Matic, to do the stuff that he gets on the end of these particular things, which he's been doing well. He's not capable of initiating the stuff. So if Liverpool play the way they normally play and get possession of the ball and have the three lads going up front, that's the way to put Pogba out of the game. The best way to do it.
Yeah, so are Liverpool going to win this game by maybe exposing the Manchester United defence in terms of their speed on the break? Does that mean then that Matic and Herrera basically sit quite deep? And
oh yeah. Well, it depends who. There's only one ball on the pitch, Johnny, and it depends who dictates the play with the ball. I think Liverpool will do what they normally do with the three lads up front and their work rate in midfield. Will try to dominate the game. I don't think there's an away formula for Liverpool to play. I think they are what they are, which is very, very good. And I think Klopp has the courage to go anywhere. There'll be Old Trafford anywhere and get those three lads up front going. If they do that and they dominate the game, then Pogba doesn't become an issue. It's only if Manchester United dictate it from the middle of the field that Pogba will come into the game. But he's not going to dictate the play for Manchester United. So there are lots of other things that Liverpool can do, like they normally play and dictate the game. I think that's the best way of winning it if they're going to go on and win it.
An awful lot is made of Liverpool's front three, but if I were to ask you to rate their respective seasons out of 10, what would you give Mane?
Well, I don't think the front three have actually played as well as they did last year.
Salah has scored.
They've been mixed, I mean, they always get one coming in on any particular game, Johnny. But they're not firing on all cylinders,
Salah has scored one goal against the top six.
Sorry.
Salah has scored one goal in games against the top six.
Yeah. Well, he but they're up there, they're still top of the league. Well, if they win their game in hand, they're top of the league. So that happens. But they've strengthened the defence. I think they're a better all-round team than they have been in the last season or two, Johnny. So, but they scored enough goals to win matches, and I'd say the three lads up front haven't played as well as they played last year, but they're still very, very good and still very dangerous and still scoring enough goals.
Do you see any mental wobble in them at all?
No, I think there's a bit of a wobble down at West Ham. I think a lot depends on Klopp, how he handles it. The West Ham match a couple of weeks ago, I don't think he handled that well. Some of the stuff he mentioned after the game about the referee and the referee being, he knew he'd given the goal away to Liverpool and then was making up for it. I don't believe that. And he turned on a couple of people, after that match. I thought he lost his nerve more than the players did. So he's got to be the leader again. So it's all down to him, Johnny. I think the players will be okay, but all that stuff that they keep talking about the pressure and the various things. The manager has to handle that on behalf of the players. So it's up to Klopp now. That is a big challenge for him at the weekend to see how he does in this particular situation.
That's fascinating, because did you feel that as a player when you were involved in title challenges? It's fair to say you had your share of intriguing managers under you, but did players sort of almost look for that kind of leadership?
Yeah, well, it's part of management, Johnny. It's a major part of management. The manager sets the tone. He's the boss. The players are the disciples, if that's the right word. They do what the manager wants them to do, but he has to lead the way. He has to say, we've got to be brave here today. We've got to go for it. You're free to do it. If it doesn't work, I'll take the blame for it. So you just go out and do what I'm asking you to do. That's the way managers work, and the great managers do it, and they take the pressure. The great managers, one of the big parts of management is taking the pressure off the players. Johnny, you take the pressure. You're the manager. You take the pressure. You say, you get out and play. I'll take the responsibility for it, and frees them up to do it. If he's nervous in the dressing room and says, look, lads, be careful of this and be careful of that, then the nerves do show for the players, because they pick it up very quickly. This guy's not really leading us. He's too nervous himself.
What about Solskjaer then? Has he done enough?
Well, I wouldn't say yet. I think he's done everything that's asked of him, Johnny. I'd wait until the end of the season to make a decision on it, because there's some tests to go yet. But I think he came in at the right time. With the fixture list was very, very good, and he's had a couple of hard ones which he's dealt with very well as well. So I would hold my judgment on it.
I suppose it's just so early to say, but I mean, victory over Liverpool for Man United fans. He's already on a charm offensive. This nearly puts him over the line, probably in the eyes of a lot of fans, because this would mean a lot.
Yeah, well, we've got to play the match yet, Johnny. You know, it's all ifs and buts. You know, I could say to you, or I want to be negative. Well, what happens if we get to hiding by Liverpool? Does that change everything? You know, that match is to be played, and it's all work along the way, and how it goes for Liverpool, for Manchester City, everybody. A lot of matches to play yet, Johnny, and anything can happen in between now and the end of the season, including Solskjaer's position.
Will they get top 4?
But it looks like it at the moment.
And just the game itself, who's best kind of suited by a draw here?
Well, again, it depends how the other teams are doing. And I'm not trying to sit on the fence.
No, but there is a sense with Liverpool that almost it's 2 points dropped against anyone at the moment, in that the chase is that real.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I'd say more there's more at stake for Liverpool in this particular match than Manchester United, because the expectancy for Manchester United, if they get in the top 4, that's a really successful season. From Liverpool's point of view, if they don't win it, the Premiership I'm talking about, then it's not going to be such a successful season, Johnny.
No, it's not. And I'm going to ask you so to call it. It's going to be an intriguing game. I think people could go one way or the other, but how do you see it going, John?
I'd go for a draw.
You're going to go for a draw. Give us a score prediction.
1-1.
And if Liverpool draw this game 1-1, then do they have the mental resolve to get through and kind of even hobble over the line? Because you could just imagine this slight sense of concern in that dressing room.
Well, there's always concerns, Johnny. You know, see, I think that the pressure situation, and to talk about the pressure on these positions is exaggerated. You know, you see, these guys are professional footballers, Johnny. You live with the pressure when you're a professional footballer. You're not going to win things if you're going to be nervous. And I'd say Manchester United and Manchester City and Liverpool at this particular stage are neck and neck. These players are professional players, and if you crack up altogether, those players wouldn't be in the position that they're in now. You know, people see it from the outside, and a lot of people. It's like myself. If I was playing in All Ireland final for Dublin, I'd be a bag of nerves. I'd be shaking and sick before the match, Johnny, because I know I'm not good enough to do it. But when you're playing as a professional footballer, that's part of the job. You've got to go out there and do it. And Liverpool, I think, at this stage of the season, you're usually in a position in the league where you deserve to be. Because they've played how many matches have they played now, Johnny? 20 odd matches.
Yeah, it's well into the 20s.
If you take Arsenal and Chelsea, they start the season, had a great start to the season.
26, yeah.
But they're nowhere near it now. You know, but Liverpool are there, and so are Manchester City there. So you don't get to the position they're in now unless you're made of the right stuff. You just wouldn't be there by now. So it's going to be neck and neck, and the pressure situation, the managers have to handle that as best they possibly can. But I think the pressure situation for the players is overstated.
Thanks for that, John.
OK, Johnny.
After the break, we're going to talk Gaelic games.
Get up-to-the-minute news updates at newstalk.com and on the Newstalk app.
How are you, football fans? This Sunday, you can stream Chelsea v Man City and Man United v Liverpool on Now TV. That's a rivalry like no other, and a Carabao Cup final for a one-off payment of just €10. To grab a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass and only pay for the games that matter to you, search Now TV today. Content streamed via internet. Full terms at nowtv.com.
At Expert Electrical, discover the new you with a NEF selected appliance and get up to €150 one-for-all gift card when you make a purchase. Choose from one of the NEF Circutherm ovens, which allows you to bake and roast simultaneously with its unique hot air system. With 67 stores nationwide, there's a local expert near you.